बच्चों, आज जो सब्जेक्ट मैटर के ऊपर में मैं बात करने वाला हूँ या एक्सप्लेन करने वाला हूँ वो मेटल्स एंड नॉन मेटल चैप्टर से है। इस चैप्टर के ऊपर, ये चैप्टर क्लास 10 के लिए मैं बात कर रहा हूँ। इस चैप्टर के ऊपर में मैंने पहले ही 4 वीडियोस दे चुका हूँ और वो 4 जो वीडियोस है वो आप पढ़ने के बाद ही आज जो पढ़ाएंगे वो समझ में आएगा आपको। ये टॉपिक जो है, ये चैप्टर बड़ा ही इंपॉर्टेंट है। इसमें थोड़ा सा हम रीकैपिंग कर देते हैं। पहले जो पढ़ाए हैं उसी को फिर से एक बार रीकैपिंग कर देना उचित है, नहीं तो आप समझेंगे नहीं। सबसे पहला वीडियो जो मैं बनाया था उसमें मैं बढ़िया से एक्सप्लेन कर दिया हूं जो मेटल्स क्या है, नॉन मेटल्स क्या है, मेटल्स का प्रॉपर्टीज क्या है, नॉन मेटल्स का प्रॉपर्टीज क्या है, मेटल्स और नॉन मेटल्स में डिफरेंस क्या है। ये सारे के सारे चीज हम एक्सप्लेन किए थे पहला वाला वीडियोस में। उसके बाद में मैं जब प्रॉपर्टीज के बारे में मैं बात करता हूं तो खाली ऐसा मत सोचिए जो मैं फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज के बारे में ही मैं बात कर रहा हूं, मैं केमिकल प्रॉपर्टीज के बारे में बात कर रहा हूं। दोनों ही तरह के प्रॉपर्टीज हम एक्सप्लेन किए हुए हैं। आप एक बात समझिए, उसके बाद में मैं आ गया था जो रिएक्टिविटी सीरीज ऑफ मेटल, लास्ट वीडियो जो मैं कंप्लीट किया था उसमें मैं एक्सप्लेन किया एक्टिविटी सीरीज ऑफ मेटल्स। हालांकि आपके बुक में एक पेज में लिखा हुआ है कुछ मेटल्स का नाम। जो मेटल्स ज्यादा एक्टिव है वो ऊपर में पाया जाता है, जो मेटल लेस रिएक्टिव है, लेस एक्टिव है, वो नीचा में मिलता है। यानी कहने का मतलब है मेटल्स का एक लिस्ट है, उस लिस्ट में देखा जाता है जो मेटल्स का नाम पहले आया वो ज्यादा रिएक्टिव है और जो मेटल बाद में आया वो उसके अपेक्षाकृत थोड़ा कम रिएक्टिव है। जैसे पोटासियम पहले आता है तो पोटासियम ज्यादा रिएक्टिव हुआ और सोडियम बाद में आया तो सोडियम थोड़ा सा कम रिएक्टिव है, पोटासियम की अपेक्षाकृत कम रिएक्टिव है। वैसे तो ये सारे के सारे मेटल जो है ऊपर में जितने एक्टिविटी सीरीज में हाईली रिएक्टिव मेटल्स हैं। ये सब मैंने एक्सप्लेन कर चुका हूं और मैं एक टेक्निक दिया था। वैसे तो लर्न करना थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट होता है, लेकिन वो टेक्निक क्या था, एक सेंटेंस के वाइज हम कुछ दिए थे। जैसे एक सेंटेंस लिखा जाता वैसे मीनिंगलेस सेंटेंस था वो, लेकिन उसमें जितना लेटर यूज हुआ था वो सारा लेटर का कुछ ना कुछ मीनिंग था। वो लेटर कोई एलिमेंट को रिप्रेजेंट करता था। क्या था वो? PSBC मैजेंटल छाप, आपको शायद याद भी होगा। PSBC मैजेंटल छाप, P फॉर पोटासियम, S फॉर सोडियम, B for barium, C for calcium. So PSBC you got BC, and after that what you got? Magnetal chap, M for magnesium, A for aluminum. Like that we are getting, and that is from every letter one name of the element comes. So you might have learned. Dear friends, in the last I taught you, in the last video, what is ionic compound? A compound made of ions is called ionic compounds. For example, sodium chloride. Here you see NaCl. Actually, how NaCl is made, do you know? Na positive and chlorine negative both together combined to form what? They form NaCl. NaCl. So this is ionic compound. The other definition what is given in your book is that the compound formed by transfer of electrons from the atom of metals to the atom of non-metal is called ionic compounds. And my definition is that the compound or compounds made of ions are called ionic compounds. If somebody is asking why NaCl is called ionic compound, so we can reply ionic compound is made of sodium positive ion and chlorine negative ion. That is why it is called ionic compounds. After that, I discussed about the properties of ionic compounds. Here you see ionic compounds. Here you see ionic compounds. First of all, definition you see here. Definition is also given. Some examples are also given. Properties of ionic compounds. What are the properties of ionic compounds? You see. Already I have discussed in the previous video. Then also I am telling you, ionic compounds are found in the solid state. Means what? Ionic compounds are solid. Second is what? Ionic compounds have high melting point and boiling point. Third is what? Ionic compounds are good conductor of electricity in the molten state or in the solution. After that, fourth, I taught you ionic compounds are soluble in water but insoluble in organic solvent like kerosene, alcohol, etc. It is not compulsory that you have to write in this order. You may forget in the second place what will come. So you may write in any position. Numbering may be different, but the things should be same. So you see what are the properties? Again I am telling you, ionic compounds are solid. Ionic compounds have high melting point and boiling point. Ionic compounds are good conductor of electricity in the molten state or in the solution. Ionic compounds are soluble in water but insoluble in organic solvent like kerosene. So I have discussed. Here two more questions I am discussing. Here you see one question is like that. Why is ionic compound solid? The answer is very easy. You see, ionic compounds are made of positive and negative ions. The force of attraction between the positive and negative ions is very high. That is why it is found in the solid state. Now, second is what? Ionic compounds have high melting point and boiling point. You see, what is melting point? The temperature at which a substance melts is called melting point, and the temperature at which a substance boils is called boiling point. Here what happens? In the case of ionic compounds, the force of attraction between the ions is very strong. To break that force of attraction, high amount of heat energy is required. That is why ionic compounds have high melting point and boiling point. Once again I am telling you what will be your answer if it is asked that what is the reason that ionic compounds have high melting point and boiling point. You listen nicely. Although I am not dictating, but I am telling you slowly, and you can write your answer in your copy. Whenever you are seeing my videos, it is my suggestion that you should keep a piece of paper and pen, and whenever something is to be noted, you must note down. Otherwise you repeat that video, again you will get the same thing and it will be memorized or learned by heart. So once again I am telling, this question is very important. Why, what is the reason, it is asked, what is the reason that ionic compounds have high melting point and boiling point? Your answer will be like that. Ionic compounds are made of positive and negative ions. There is a great force of attraction between these two kind of ions. High amount of heat energy is required to break the force of attraction between the positive ions and negative ions. That is why ionic compounds have high melting point and boiling point. One more question is that why are the ionic compounds good conductor of electricity? Your answer will be like that. Ionic compounds dissolve in water or in the molten state, they separate in the form of positive ions and negative ions. That is why it can conduct electricity. Now in this way this topic I am going to finish. Now you try to understand some new thing I am going to teach you related to this chapter. Here you see, today what do you mean by minerals or where do you get metals? Here you see some of the metals, they are very less reactive or least reactive. Those metals which you are getting in the activity series in the bottom, actually they are least reactive, and least reactive metals are found in the native state, means what, in the free state. For example, gold, silver, platinum you can get in the free state. So sometimes question may be asked like that, mention some metals, mention some metals which are found in free state, free state. Free state means what? In the native state. As money freely, it will not be found in the form of compound. They are gold or silver, Ag, argentum, and platinum. That is Pt. In this way you understood. Now some of the metals are there which you can get in the free state also and in the combined state also, in the form of compounds also. So you see there you may write, name some metals which we get in free as well as in combined state. Combined state. Here you see answer will be silver, because silver is little bit more reactive than the gold, silver, copper, etc. I hope you understood. But rest of the metals, they are upper in the upper position in the activity series of metal, so they can never be found in the free state. Suppose sodium, you can never get sodium in the free state. Potassium, because they are very reactive, so you are getting what? In the compound form. They are found in the compound form. Similarly, what happened? Iron. Iron, you know, iron is reactive metal. So, iron oxide, in the form of iron oxide you are getting. Sometime some metal, zinc you are getting in the form of zinc carbonate or zinc sulfide. So, the metals which are found in the form of compound means what? From the compounds you have to extract the metals. Freely you are not getting. Now the question arises like that. How do you get metals? Or where do you get metal? Then one thing, I have explained some of the metals we are getting in the free state. But most of the metals we are getting from the earth's crust. And also from sea water. Here you see, earth crust means, do you understand? Earth crust means the upper surface of the earth, which contains muds, rock, etc. That upper surface of the rock, the earth called what? Earth's crust. Here you see, and some of the metals, earth crust, what are the things you are getting? Which metals you are getting from the earth? You see, zinc. Zinc you are getting, not freely. Zinc you are getting from the zinc carbonate or zinc sulfide. Mercury you are getting in the form of mercury sulfide. So, here zinc you are getting from the rocks, from the earth's crust. Dear friends, some of the metals you are getting from the sea water also. For example, sodium chloride. Sodium chloride, where you are getting? Sodium chloride you are getting NaCl, that is common salt. You know that common salt you are getting from the sea water. Magnesium chloride, MgCl2, from where you are getting? You are getting from sea water. So here you see, sea water is also the source of metal. Earth crust is the source of metal. From sea water, NaCl you are getting, and in NaCl, from NaCl, what are the things you are getting? Sodium you are getting. From sea water you are getting magnesium chloride, and in magnesium chloride what you are having? Magnesium. So magnesium, sodium we are getting from the sea water. So sea water is the source of what? Sodium, magnesium, etc. Dear friends, now you try to understand what is minerals and ores. We are calling minerals and ores. You have to understand. Minerals. Dear friends, elements or compounds found naturally in the earth's crust are called minerals. Elements or compound found in the Earth's crust, Earth's crust, found in the Earth's crust are known as Earth crust naturally. How? Naturally. Are called minerals. Dear friends, after minerals you have to know ores. What are ores? You see, some of the minerals contain high percentage of a particular metal, from where metal can be extracted profitably. Such type of minerals will be called what? Ores. Dear friends, suppose there is a mineral, in your garden, that is of iron, but that minerals contain less amount of iron. You are going to extract iron from that minerals, then even 1 kg of iron you are extracting from there, and you have to pay 200 rupees, whereas 1 kg of iron you are getting in the market in 60 rupees, 50 rupees, like that. Then I don't think that you will prefer to extract iron from your minerals from your garden. So that type of minerals will not be called ores. Then what type of minerals will be called ore? You can reply, those minerals which contain high percentage of a particular metals, and from there metals can be extracted profitably, are called ores. That means all the ores are minerals, but all the minerals are not ores. So I am going to write the definition. You see, the minerals, minerals from the minerals which, 1 minute, let me see what are the topic I have to explain a lot. The minerals which contain high percentage of a particular metal, high percentage of particular metal, particular, you write, particular metal, and from which metal can be extracted profitably, are called ores. So in this way, all the ores, you see, very nice definition it is, the minerals which contain high percentage of a particular metal, and from which metal can be extracted profitably, are called ores. All the ores are minerals. All the ores are minerals, but all the minerals are not ores. Now example of ores I am giving you. Example of ores. Here you see zinc carbonate, ZnCO3. From here what you will get? Zinc carbonate. From zinc carbonate you will extract zinc. Cinnabar or mercury sulfide, HgS. This is called cinnabar. From here what you will obtain? You will obtain mercury from cinnabar. It is called cinnabar also. Here you see NaCl, that is the ore of what? Sodium, etc. Or iron oxide. You see Fe2O3, that is the ore of iron, etc. These are the ores. So I have written the examples of ores also. Zinc sulfide is also there. Here I am writing zinc sulfide also, ZnS. Dear friends, sometimes it may be asked, give one example of a ore of zinc. Then you can write zinc carbonate, or you can write zinc sulfide. Give the ore of sodium. You can give sodium chloride. You can give the ore of mercury. So mercury sulfide, that is cinnabar. CINNABAR, cinnabar, that is. So in this way I have taught you ores and minerals. Dear friends, now I am going to rub it now. After that, I want to discuss about the gangue. What is gangue? You see, gangue. Actually, what happens? The ores contains different type of impurities like mud, sand, rocks. These impurities present in the ores are called gangue. This gangue should be removed, or impurities should be removed from the ores before the extraction of metals from that particular ores. What happens? Do you understand? The ores from where you want to extract metal, that ore must be concentrated. How can you concentrate? Impurities, whatever impurities are there in the ore, what type of impurities? That may be sand, mud, soil, rocks, etc. These impurities are called what together? Gangue. So, what is gangue? You try to understand. Impurities present in a impurities present in a ore is called impurities present in a ore are called gangue. Now, dear friends, after that, gangue means what? Example, soil, rocks, muds, etc. They are called gangue. Now, concentration of ore. of ores, or it is called enrichment of ore. You understand, in your book it is given enrichment of ore, but I am telling what concentration of ore. Both the things are same. So removal of impurities from an ore is called concentration of ores. Concentration of ore, or you can write ores. So what I have written, removal of impurities from an ore, or you can write from ores, you write. Removal of impurities from ores is called concentration of ores. In this way, I have discussed many things: minerals, ores, concentration of ores, gangue, etc. Now, how the chemist or scientist concentrate the ores? Many processes are there. Simply, they are throwing the stream of water on the ores, then also mud, soils, these are removed. But sometimes, if the impurities are acidic in nature, then they are adding a chemical from the outside in the ore that should be the basic in nature. And if the basic impurities are there, then the chemist, they are putting basic chemical in the ores to remove. Anyway, that will be taught in the higher level, not in class 10. My dear student, after that we are proceeding little bit more. Then I'll end this video. You see, now how can after that I am telling you what is roasting of ore and concentration of ore. You see, and reduction of ore. Dear friends, reduction, you know, in the first chapter itself in chemistry you have been taught in the chemical reaction or in the chemical equation. What is reduction? Removal of oxygen from a compound is called reduction. For example, you see CuO plus C on heating, what happened? Do you understand? Cu plus CO you are getting, suppose, then it will be called what? Reduction. Means carbon has taken this oxygen and it became what? Carbon monoxide, and this copper remain as it is. So here what happens? Do you understand? This is reduction. And what happened? This will be oxidized. Anyway, you understood. Let it be. So reduction is very easy. Suppose zinc oxide is there now, dear friends. Then what will happen? Zinc oxide, suppose it is heated with charcoal. Charcoal means what? Carbon. Heat it. Then what will happen? Do you understand? Zinc will be separated and plus carbon dioxide gas is produced. Suppose this 2G and C is there. So 2Zn and CO2 you are getting, carbon dioxide you are getting. So this is a kind of reduction. This is reduction actually. What happens? 1 minute, you see. Here what happened? Oh, zinc oxide, sorry, right? Here you see zinc, simply it has been written zinc oxide, carbon monoxide. CO means what? Carbon monoxide gas you are getting. So in this way, this is called what? Reduction. Reduction happens like that. So my dear students, when a metal oxide you are getting, then only reduction is very easy. That is called carbon reduction process. Other process is also there, but I am talking about the carbon reduction process. So it is not sure that always you are getting oxide ore. Sometimes you are getting ores are of different type: oxide ore, carbonate ore, sulfide ore. Now dear friend, when this is oxide ore, then simply you heat the oxide ore of metal with carbon, that carbon will take the oxygen and go away in the form of carbon monoxide gas or carbon dioxide gas, and metal will remain as it is. Suppose we are not getting the oxide ore, you are getting the carbonate ore, then what will happen, do you understand? You heat carbonate ore strongly in absence of air or in limited supply of air, so that carbonate will convert into oxide ore. Same thing happens, suppose there is sulfide ore, then you are not doing the calcination, you are doing roasting. In the case of sulfide ore, you are heating the sulfide ore strongly in presence of oxygen to get sulfide ore be converted into oxide ore. So you see, I am talking about calcination. What is calcination? Heating, you write, heating carbonate ores, heating carbonate ore strongly, carbonate ore strongly in absence of air or in limited supply, limited supply of air, supply of air, to convert, heating carbonate ore strongly in absence of air or in limited supply of air, to convert it means what? Carbonate into oxide ore. Oxide ore is called calcination. Calcination. Here you see, I hope you understood. Heating carbonate ore strongly in absence of air or in limited supply of air, to convert carbonate into oxide ore is called calcination. You see, ZnCO3, this is zinc carbonate, and you are heating, then what happens, do you understand? Heating, you are getting ZnO plus CO2. This is a solid, this is also solid, and this is what? Gas. So this is the calcination. And after that, roasting. What is roasting? Heating sulfide ore here. Sulfide sulfide ores heating sulfide ores strongly in presence of air to convert them means what? Sulfide ores, to convert them into oxide ores is called roasting. Here you see ZnS. Suppose this is what? ZnS. This is solid and you are heating here. But here you have to take in presence of air. This is the gas. And then you are heating. What are the things you are getting? ZnO. This is solid. Zinc oxide you are getting. And sulfur dioxide gas also you are getting. Sulfur dioxide gas. I don't hope that it is balanced. Now it will be balanced. You see 2 ZnO and 2 SO2. So oxygen you are getting 2 oxygen, 2 to the 4 and 2 6. Here you are getting 6 oxygen you have to make here. 3 to the 6 oxygen. Zinc 2 zinc. Sulfur 2 sulfur. So in this way it is balanced. I hope you understood. Once again let me see the book. What are the topics I have to explain a lot. Dear friends, I hope you understood what is calcination and roasting. Sometime we are seeing in the question paper, what are the differences between calcination and roasting? You have to reply like that. Calcination is the process which is done for the carbonate ore. Roasting is the process which is done for the sulfide ore. Calcination is, in the case of calcination, carbonate ore is heated in absence of air or in limited supply of air. Whereas in roasting, sulfide ore is heated strongly in presence of air. So 2 points I am giving. Of course, in the case of roasting, heat energy required is more, but in the case of calcination, heat energy required is less. So in this way you understood the differences between calcination and roasting. Dear friends, हम फिर से एक बार बोलना चाहते हैं. जो स्टार्ट तो हम किए थे हिंदी में, इंग्लिश में भी मैं बोल रहा हूँ तो एकदम सिंपल लैंग्वेज माने सिंपल वर्ड्स यूज किया हूँ. बच्चों को जरूर बेनिफिट मिलेगा. बच्चों अगर देखना चाहे तो जरूर फायदा मिलेगा. और एक रिक्वेस्ट है मेरा, मैं आजकल नया नया वीडियो देता रहता हूँ, तुम मेरा चैनल को सब्सक्राइब जरूर करो. और मेरा फोन नंबर भी दिया हुआ है. तुम लोग को अगर कभी कोई दिक्कत हो, कष्ट हो, तो तुम हमको नोटिस में दो जो क्या प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है. वैसे तो मैं जैसे क्लास में एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ ऑफलाइन, वैसे ही ऑनलाइन भी मैं करता हूँ. हमसे कुछ बेनिफिट तुम लोग को मिले तो हम अपने आप को भाग्यशाली समझेंगे. तो इसलिए मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है जो जरूर देखो. Even in English, I am using the words. These words are very simple. Most of the students from outside of Guwahati, they are replying me and they are asking some problems and giving the suggestion also sometimes. I request you to do the same. I am your teacher. I am for you. Don't hesitate to ask anything from me. Thank you, my dear students. Today it is enough. Tomorrow again I will make some videos. I hope 2 videos will be required in these topics so that the chapter will be finished. Thank you.